So I'm looking at something really beautiful right now, and I would love to share this experience with you. You, whoever is watching this, I would love to share this experience with you of this thing that I'm seeing. And you might be thinking that I'm about to turn the camera around and point the camera at what it is that I'm seeing, which is so beautiful. And I'm not. And the reason I'm not is that all I could do if I pointed the camera at it would be to give you an image of what it is that I'm seeing, which you may or may not also find beautiful. But that would not actually be sharing my experience of the beauty with you. You would have your own experience of whatever it was you were seeing on whatever screen it is that you're watching this video on. And that experience would be perhaps beautiful, perhaps similar to the beauty that I'm experiencing, perhaps not, either because you have different taste or a different background, or because the beauty of the scene that I'm seeing doesn't translate well into this camera, even though it's pretty good. And there's a deeper thing that I'm wanting to point out here. So there's a common trope, and it shows up in this particular Alan Watts quote, I think, which features in a couple of mixes that I've listened to, like electronic mixes. Somebody sort of remixed Alan Watts into this some song, and he says something about like capturing a photo of the event seems to have become more important to people than seeing it directly. And when I first heard him say that, when I first heard this song, I was like, that's not true of me. But then I went on a walk without my phone, and I noticed that it made it much more vivid that when I saw something beautiful, my first impulse was to grab my phone and take a photo of it. And it's like, okay, what's going on there? Well, there's a sense of, like, what would I have done if I was there with another person? I might have pointed it out to them. I might have said, hey, look at that, wow. And in the absence of there being another person there, it's not unreasonable that I might want to take a photo so that I can share something of my experience of that moment with somebody else. Or even so that I can share something of that moment with future me. I can remember the moment, or I can take pleasure again in the beautiful sunset or mural or person or dog or plant or whatever it is. And all of that's pretty reasonable, but I came to realize that there's a different thing that I can do instead in those moments when I encounter something. Could be beautiful, it could be just remarkable, fascinating in some way. And that is to share the experience that I'm having with myself. And so I look out at the beauty that I'm seeing, and I behold my own seeing of it, and I really be with that. I welcome into my own experience the feeling of enjoying what I am enjoying in that moment. And this feels really good when I do it. That's my experience. There's a sense of, it gives me the thing I'm wanting out of sharing it with somebody else, or at least it gives me a lot of that. And in another way, it can even give me things that sharing it with somebody else can't do. And one way to point at this metaphor is that nobody else can ever hear songs the way you do, especially when those songs are the songs that you loved in your childhood or in your early teens. The other people, you can share those songs with them, you can tell them the stories, but they're not ever going to have, in the same embodied way, the connection with what those songs meant to you when you first heard them. and when you listen to them on repeat. But you do, and you are a person that you can share that experience with. You don't need to get it validated by some other person. You can do that appreciation internally. And so that is what I am going to do for a moment here on video with you. I'm going to share with you some of my experience as it occurs to you on the outside, because that's all I can share with you, of what it looks like to appreciate this view that I'm now looking at, which has changed because the view was one of the light hitting San Francisco in a particular way, and the light is different now, 5 minutes after I started looking at this. But the view is still beautiful, and I'm going to appreciate what there is to appreciate of it. I'm realizing in this moment that this is a little bit similar to a video I made back in June. That was a video of me looking at the sunset, I think, not a video of the sunset. But I don't think I got nearly as precise on the on what I was like. I don't think I said all of what I was trying to say here in that. That one was more about I don't know, being with me or something like that. Whereas the thing I'm wanting to invite you to do, I guess, from here is, if you have some moment of beauty that you'd like to take a photo of, whether or not you take a photo of it, I'm not saying don't take a photo, but you might inhibit the intention to take a photo for just a moment, especially if it's not something that's going to disappear, like a mural or something. It's going to be right there 10 seconds later. Pause the photo for a moment and just go, wow. Just really take it in yourself. Try to fully appreciate it. And it feels to me a little bit like, you know, when I'm driving in a car with somebody and there's something really pretty and I'm the one driving, or I say I'm in the passenger seat and, you know, some family member or friend or partner's driving. It's like, I need to appreciate the pretty thing for both of us. Like, I need to thoroughly appreciate it on behalf of both of us, because they're not able because they have to focus on the road. So it's kind of like that. It's like, you know, instead of trying to take a photo, it's like, can you appreciate the thing so thoroughly that you don't need to share it with other people? And maybe you might find yourself trying to share that beauty with other people in the form of something like a poem or a song or a piece of artwork, or and just even an evocative description of what it was like, or the story of how it was that you came to be with it. There are many ways to share an experience with somebody other than attempting to copy the sensory data and give them the sensory data. And you might actually find it's more intimate to share your experience as an experience than to attempt to give them similar sensory data. Cool. If you try this, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear some examples of this. If you make a similar video of yourself enjoying something, but not a video of the thing itself, then I would also be intrigued to check that out. Yeah.